You asked for it and I'm delivering. In this video, I'm going to be talking about my personal thoughts on Performance Max for lead gen. You've already clicked on it. You already know that I'm not the biggest fan of it, but this is my personal opinion of it as of August 2024. Now, if you ask me 5, 6 months down the line about it, my opinion might change, but this is just my opinion as of August 2024. If you're new to Performance Max, I want to break down exactly what it is. And I have it here on the screen. Performance Max is a campaign type, just like Google Search, Google Display, Demand Gen, etc. But think of it kind of like an all-in-one shampoo. It will serve your ads across several different networks: YouTube, Display, Search, Discovery, Gmail, and Maps. So across these 6 different networks, it will basically serve your ads given the assets that you provide it. You will load in your assets when you're building in your Performance Max campaign, your images, your video. If you don't put video, it's going to create a video for you, which is not ideal. You put your copy, headlines, descriptions, and then Google's going to mix and match those across the Performance Max inventory in YouTube, Display, Search, Discovery, Gmail, and Maps. And it will just serve your ads across the entire network. Now, if you have been advertising on Google for some time, you know that Google has been really pushing Performance Max on advertisers. You get reached out by these reps all the time saying, oh yeah, you need to have a Performance Max campaign because it's an all-in-one solution and it's a great way. Really, from my personal opinion, it's a great way for Google to sell unwanted inventory and package everything all up in one box where you can't actually see what's performing and what's not. You basically just say, Google, here's $100 a day. Go find me the best quality leads or sales if you're doing shopping based off of this across the different networks. The challenge with Performance Max, I'm going to get into my experience with it, but I think I'm jumping a little ahead of myself. The challenge is you can't actually see whether your Display, YouTube, Search, Discovery, Gmail, which one's actually performing best to put more budget towards it. There's not a ton of optimization levers. And I'm jumping ahead, but I'm going to just dive right into what are my thoughts here for using Performance Max for local service-based businesses. Already shared a little bit, but I'm going to take you a little bit deeper. So here's my experience with Performance Max. I'm using Lisa Simpson over here, and she's like, meh. Honestly, from my experience in testing it on many local service-based businesses, I've been just getting subpar results. And I can't really see what's driving the results. That's really where the challenge is. Optimizations are levers are very limited. Google doesn't want you to see because it just wants you to keep putting more budget into it and trying to make it look good. But what I found is that Performance Max tries to take credit for branded searches. So even though you might be getting conversions coming from Performance Max, it may just be because Google's serving your ads for your own brand. And those are the easiest type of conversions to get because people already know about you and they're cheap and it's easy to convert. If you're going to use Performance Max, definitely make sure to use branded exclusions. But from my experience, the leads are mediocre. Some are decent, some are really awful. But you need to have a qualifying system in place for Performance Max because your ads will be served in Display and YouTube. And if you've ever run Display and YouTube ads in the past, they generate lots of impressions and can generate leads. But a lot of times they're not the best quality. A lot of times could be bots. Now, I'm not completely ruling out Performance Max and saying that it's awful and you should never use it. I've actually seen it work well under certain circumstances, but it's not for every business type. It's not for every local service-based business. It hasn't worked for most accounts that I've tested it in. Speaking with other lead gen advertisers, I've heard too similar sentiments that it's a hit or miss. Most of the time it's a miss. Sometimes it can be a hit. But if you wanted to try Performance Max because you're looking to scale, here are some criteria. If you're running Google Shopping, that's not my area of expertise, by the way, but if you're running Google Shopping, you definitely want to be trying a Performance Max campaign. If you've maxed out completely on Google search, meaning you've really just tapped out in terms of how many leads you can get at a certain cost per acquisition, you're using target CPA, and you have a very, very high budget, unlimited budget, you can try out Performance Max to see what incremental leads you can get from it. But please keep in mind that you want to be paying attention to the quality. And then also, if you're getting at least 50 conversions a month, that's typically what I like to see in order to make recommendations for Performance Max, because Google's going to have enough volume and will allow you to best test for incremental conversions. You also want to make sure that you have your conversion tracking in place, really strong conversion tracking, so that Google knows what type of leads to go after. For you. And then I like to say, if you have at least $100 more a day to be spending, try out Performance Max as a test. But your mileage may vary, results are going to vary. So it's hard for me to say don't trust it completely, but just from my personal experience, if you had a more limited budget, let's say, south of $20,000 a month, probably want to focus more on trying to max out your Google search, before you start expanding into Performance Max. And here's an alternative for Performance Max that I'll recommend, because I've had some clients reach out saying like, oh, I want to try Performance Max, and we try it. It's kind of a dud. What I'll say is, if you want Performance Max for local lead generation, the levers to actually do it all as a DIY approach without doing an all-in-one approach are still there. You can set up your own separate Google search account, search campaign. You can set up a separate display, separate demand gen discovery campaign, demand gen discovery, and YouTube. You can set up 1, 2, 3, 4 different campaign types and have specific optimization levers that you can pull with a lot more visibility, instead of just doing Performance Max alone. Unfortunately, there's no more just Gmail ads anymore. Gmail's grouped under Performance Max, but you'll be able to have granular insights into what's actually driving performance, instead of just dumping money into a hole and just trusting Google to make the best decision for you. I said earlier in this video, Performance Max is kind of like an all-in-one shampoo. It's going to get the job done. It is, to a certain extent, it can drive you leads, but it's not going to be the best quality leads. You're going to be having to scrub a lot to like really figure out what's performing best for you, or take some wild guesses as to what's performing best for you. If you want the best results with the best optimization levers, you're going to want to set up separate campaigns instead of just doing all-in-one. You're going to want to have the separate exfoliator, shampoo, conditioner, going back to that analogy of the all-in-one shampoo, so that you can control how much or how little to be putting in there for the best quality results. Because Performance Max, it can be a black hole where you're just tossing money in and you're not really seeing what it's actually generating for you. And can be very dangerous. I've seen it work, but it's mostly driven by brand. I've seen it work in some specific instances in some industries, but it's not enough for me to preach to everyone and say, yes, you absolutely need it. You don't necessarily need Performance Max to get the best results. I know that Google's been pushing it and saying that if you're not adopting, you're dying. You're not adopting to Google to Performance Max, you're dying and you're not leveling up. But with the ability to still use the standard search campaigns, display, demand gen, discovery, YouTube, that would be my recommendation first before trying Performance Max. If you want to test Performance Max, here's the criteria that I would have first before jumping into that territory. I'm not saying that it's awful, but I'm also saying if you want to try it, proceed with caution. Your mileage may vary. And with that all being said, if you have found this video helpful and you like my POV on it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Performance Max for lead gen. Has it worked for you? What type of results are you getting? And is it worthwhile? Please share them below. And if you're new here, my name is Michelle. I'm the founder of Level 28 Media. I help local service-based businesses generate leads from Google Ads. I don't start with Performance Max campaigns at all. Typically, it's something that I would consider for scaling, but really think that if you're going to want to scale, you'd want to break them out into the 4 different campaign types before even looking into Performance Max. And if you are looking for a consultation, whether an audit or a managed services, check out the link below and I'd be more than happy to have a discussion with you. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.